Hi everyone, welcome to Rykel Law. This is one of the first videos that we're doing on the show, and I have with me a very distinguished individual who I have the pleasure of joining us on my first show, Mr. Christopher Townsend. Thank you, Mr. Townsend, for allowing us to come into your space and have this interview.
It is indeed my pleasure. Thank you for choosing me. Thank all the people who recommended me to you. But it's a pleasure being here, and it's a pleasure being the guinea pig on your show.
I don't think you have much of an issue, do you?
Nah.
But let's get into it. I want to understand, who is Christopher? How is it that you decided to, well, why is it you decided to become an attorney? What are some of the characteristics that makes Chris successful? And what are some of the recommendations you have for individuals out there who want to tread a lifestyle like you or become almost like you?
Okay, me not remember the first question. No. You
But
want to start
I'm
one
going
by
to split it up. I'm going to split it up. I'm just giving an idea of where we're going, the
Okay,
trajectory of the
great.
conversation. For those persons who are just joining, I don't want to lose you. We're going to get into it.
Okay.
All right. So, who is Christopher Townsend? Where are you from?
All right, so let us start with where I'm from. I was born in Kingston. Um, My early childhood took me between Trenchtown, Second Street. That's where my dad was from. So my dad parents lived there. And above rocks, that's in St. Catherine Hills. That's where my mom's parents are from. But in between there, we lived off Duncan Avenue, that's off Lindus Road. And of course, we enjoyed the surroundings of New Haven, that is below near Riverton City, and then from there on we started moving uptown. So my early years, that is where I was, and that is where I formed the intention of being an attorney at law. That is where I developed this idea that I wanted to be a lawyer. But there's a story that is told in my family that when we were, myself and my cousin, when we were very, very young, my grandfather made a pronouncement that I was going to be a barrister or a judge. And my other cousin, we were about 6 months old, because we were just a couple days apart. That my cousin was going to be something else. I won't say here. He turned out to be that. He died sometime after, and I turned out to be an attorney at law. So my grandfather's pronouncement on our lives came to fruition.
Wow, the power in
So
words.
yeah, so you might say that I was born an attorney. Some people think so.
I mean, I can certainly say that you've distinguished yourself as an attorney, and so it sounds like a man of many roots, being from different areas. I mean, certainly you'd have interfaced with a lot of people from different backgrounds with that sort of uprooting and growth
Yeah,
and foundation.
you might say that in my early years and my life, my transition, I have been fortunate enough to move through the different stratum in the society, from the not so rich inner city to the upper echelon kings and queens. So I have met the very poor and I've met the very rich, and I speak all languages. I'm bilingual in that sense.
I mean, that must be an asset as an attorney, because clientele from different backgrounds and having to communicate with people and develop relationships with people from different
Yeah,
backgrounds
man.
is essential.
Communication is key. It has assisted me greatly um, to be able to talk the language of everyone. As I said, it certainly helps to communicate. And being an effective communicator is what business is really about. Because you have to understand the people, you have to understand how they think, you have to understand how they reason.
Right.
And if it is that you can reason at all level, then certainly it makes communication easy. It makes getting your views across, getting your advice across to be much easier, and you have a greater effect on them.
I agree. What is the Christopher Townsend formula?
Um, I tell you, the formula is really to understand people, you know.
Mm.
When I first started out, one of the things, and I credit my dad with this, he has left us now. Um, Customer service is key. I remember, I remember, and I learned this from the late R. Danny Williams. He came here once, and I had quite a number of persons in my waiting area, and he came, and I saw everybody in the order that they came, and he was about fifth or so. Now, most people would have said, "Boy, Danny Williams outside." So, me run go see him quickly, and the other people, skip the line. But I saw everybody and gave everybody their time. And he sat there and he waited. And when he came, and of course, he looked kind of odd in my waiting area, the only white man inside here waiting. Um, but when he came in, he said to me that you're going to be a success. It was early in my career. You're going to be a success. I noted how you treated with everyone as everyone was important. And the truth is, everyone is really important to your business. I remember some time ago, a gentleman came to me to represent his son. He was a farmer from Portland. And my secretary at the time says that this man outside to me, look like he can afford me. I said, no, man, send him in. And, you know, I said to him, well, come on in, and started talking. And my secretary, I sent him back outside to speak to my secretary about fees and all of that. And my secretary came back to me and said, they tell him $1 million, but me not thinking can pay away. So, I went on my merry way doing my work. The man went downstairs, come back up with $1.5 million in our bag. Them times they could have collect them money there in a fee. $1.5 million in our bag, count out the $1 million, and say, boy, I'm going to check some more here that got charged, so me carry more. So I learned very early in the day not to underestimate people.
Yeah.
Treat everybody with respect. Yes? And compassion. Everybody comes to you with a problem, they come to you for solution. Give them what it is that they come for.
Yeah.
Right? And once it is that I learned that, and once it is that I began to treat people in that way, they came in droves. And they assisted me in growing my product.
Wow. Certainly inspiring. With that sort of mindset and approach and welcoming strategy, it's a wonder why it is that you have to continue marketing yourself as an attorney, because I mean your reputation precedes you.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize that in recent times you got called in Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect it's a marketing perspective or a
Mm-hmm.
strategy, but you can clarify that for me.
Well, yes, it is.
Okay.
One of the things that is not taught in law school is the business of law. You learn the practice of law, but you don't learn the business of law. Law is just like every other business. You have to market. You have to look at what it is that you're selling. You have, and of course, brand building. Now, with every lawyer, you are a brand, right? Your firm is a brand and you are a brand, and they're separate brands, right? And you have to look at it that way. So when it is that you go out and you're branding yourself, you have to look a certain way, you have to speak a certain way, you have to wear the kind of attire that says, I am the kind of person that you want to do business with. Whenever you walk into your place of business, it must look a particular way. That look, there is success here, and I want to be a part of this success. And so, building your brand is very, very important. And I make the distinction between brand building and marketing. right? Because with brand building, when you build your brand, people come to you. When you're marketing, you're going out there to bring in. But when you build your brand, if your brand is sufficiently firm and you focus on it, the people will come in droves,
Right.
right? And that is one of the things that a lot of lawyers do not understand, right? So brand building is extremely important, and that is what we do here at TWP.
A lot of young attorneys,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, know the current climate of attorneys very different. I mean, in contrast to
Me
what it
for
used
tell
to
you,
be when you started out. Branding is a wholly different thing than it was back then, and not to mention the fact that with the new with the growth and development of social media, we also have to be in the confines of our ethical codes as it relates to how it is to put ourselves out there. So my question is, what if any difference do you see? No to
mm-hmm.
then.
Well, as you know, the canons they were amended recently to kind of open up the whole um, marketing strategies that you can employ. Once it was only a card or so with a particular size that you're able to use to market. Now you can market by advertising, etc. But long before that, there are other ways of marketing. If you do a good job, right, that is marketing. People marketing is one of the most powerful marketing tools that you can find. Each one tell one. Yes. So if you do a good job for one person, yes, you're talking about that will reach at least 10 to 15 persons. And those 10 to 15 persons don't branch off in another 10 to 15. So individual marketing, that is how I started to build the product. And of course, now with the advent of social media and all of that, and of course, shows like yours, we can create more avenues for branding and for marketing and building your product. And it is utilized, and I utilize it.
Tell me something. What do you think though? Because a lot of young attorneys, I'd say, have said, "Boy, it used to be much easier for attorneys back then, and
Mhm.
partially because of the saturation of the field
Mhm.
now. Well, I won't say saturation, but because there are way more attorneys now than there used to be. What do you suspect are the challenges we have as young attorneys compared to, I guess, what senior attorneys have?
Okay. Um, I don't necessarily buy the saturation argument.
Okay.
Because being an attorney back in the day is very different from being an attorney now. There are far more avenues, there are far more areas of law that you can specialize in, right? So the old way of doing things when you come to a one lawyer and it's a one-stop shop, no more. I run a law firm where we specialize. So you will have the civil department. They don't do criminal law. You will have the personal injury
Conveyancing.
department. They don't do criminal law. You have conveyancing department. They don't do civil. They don't do litigation. So you have many areas, and in those areas, like in litigation, you can do different types of litigation or litigation in a particular area,
True.
right? And in personal injury, you can do personal injury of a particular kind. You can do medical, you can do, the accidents, the car accidents, or you can go around and sue doctors. So you can develop special areas of practice. We never had that back then, right? There's competition law. There's no compliance with new legislations that are coming in, which lawyers want it is that you're competent in that area, your knowledge, your expertise will be sought after
Right.
by corporate Jamaica. So the profession is changing. What we need to do, our young lawyers need to do, they need to capitalize on these changes and stop sitting around and saying, boy, me can't find a work. Boy, me can't do this, me can't do that. If it requires you saying to a friend, you and I, let us start something. Let us call TWP and get some guidance from some senior lawyers. Call over Duncox, call somewhere, get the senior lawyers on board and said, could I get some guidance? Could you just shadow me? Can I put you on my letterhead as a consultant so that we can consult with you? What they lack is the ingenuity. Are we back yet?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Is everybody back? Yes, they
Uh,
look like they're back.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
What we lack really is the ingenuity and the drive for success. Lawyers now come out of law school and they say, I am out. Can I be rich now, please? Where is the fancy car?
Yeah.
Oh, I really have to do more work? No, I never planned for this. But let me tell you all something as young attorneys. When you come out of law school, the playing field is leveled again. So if you are a A student, yeah, you can dead for hungry. If you're a B student, you can dead for hungry. If you're a C student, you can dead for hungry same way. You understand?
Yeah.
So therefore, it requires for you to use that knowledge, yes, that knowledge that you have gained, and employ and deploy for ingenuity. Create something if it is that you find that whatever area you want to get into, you can't get into, or whatever firm you want to get into, you can't get into. Create something. Use your knowledge, use your mind, and be creative.
Wow.
So don't sit down and talk about, boy, lazy. And that is what I find.
Well, you heard it from Mr. Townsend, guys. So I think wholly practical advice, but those persons stuck and trying to figure out how to move, and transition from law school into the practical world, how to practically make money, how to make some real money. And I mean, what? And I think you need
I
to
want
touch
to,
on
I
it.
want to, I want to, I want to chime in a little bit on this real money thing.
Okay.
Real money don't come
Mm.
until after about 6 or 7 years. So if you want real money, it's not law you're dealing with. You're going to sell something else, or you're going to go into some other business, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because what people buying is really your skill, right? And you don't now gonna have no skill for sell until you have developed it. Right? So what I recommend for young lawyers, spend the time developing your skill set. Spend the time, if it's even carrying the bag of a lawyer, or working somewhere where you can develop the knowledge. Don't look to the money yet. When you are good at what you do, money will flow like a river.
I agree. I agree.
Money will flow like a river. You don't have to worry about that. That will come.
And it needed to be said, I
Yeah.
think. So talk to me though, young attorneys, and I want to also go outside the realm of just addressing an audience of young attorneys. I also want to address an audience of people who are opening businesses. You are developing your business. What are some of the attributes and things that you believe are necessary to inculcate in the development of your business, in the practice of your law, in whatever it is that you do? What
Well,
are the attributes that you
well,
recommend?
you mean the business of law,
The
or
business
just
of law,
business on a whole? Well, it's
business
the
on
same thing applies.
um,
You first of all, you have to know where are you going to shop, where are you going to shop for your clients, where's your market, all right? So I started out in criminal law, so that was where my market was. Then I went into conveyancing, so developments. That's another market area.
right.
So you have to develop or figure out where exactly is it you want your market to be your marketplace, where you're shopping, right? Then, of course, you have to put in place the infrastructure, the back office for your organization. So you have to have your accounting system set up. You have to have your secretaries, your paralegals, your support staff. You have to have those in place so that when it is that you go for the work and you carry on the work, you do have the mechanism in place to deliver, right? And of course, at the end of the day, you have to have your targets, you have to have your meetings with your staff so as to, you know, to organize yourself in making money. Money don't just come like that, or success don't just come like that. You have to organize yourself for it, right? So you're not going to sit down and do no work. You have to do some work. As my lecturer Stephen Fraser in Guyana at the University of Guyana, where I attended, used to say, "You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work. You don't just happen like that. You gotta do the work, right?" So there is no sit down and it falls from heaven like manna, as most young lawyers believe happens. No, you have to put the infrastructure in place, right? Because it's a business. Put the infrastructure in place as I've outlined to you for you to be a success. So if you don't plan on being a success, then you won't be. Simple.
I agree.
I remember life is binary. It's really numbers.
Mm.
It's really numbers.
Where'd you get that one from?
I just made that up.
Oh, all right.
Is it good?
I feel like I've heard it somewhere.
Oh, you nah.
But all right.
If you did, people following you. People
I'm
following
just
you.
kidding.
People taking my things.
I kid sometimes.
Mm.
But I mean, clearly, a lot of people have wondered these things,
Mhm.
and it needed to be said by someone who's experienced it and has practical knowledge about how to navigate as a young attorney. Because, like you said, the the fact of the matter is nobody is really guiding a lot of the young attorneys know.
Yeah.
Stepping out of law school, a lot of them haven't been able to locate jobs, like you rightly said.
Mhm.
But they're questioning themselves. They're trying to figure out, boy, what's the next step? And I mean, thankfully, you've assisted that today by giving us some knowledge on how to go
And
about things.
and the truth is, we have always prided ourselves um on counseling young counsel.
Yeah.
So our doors at TWP is always open for you to come in to talk with us. We have had this program where we invite young counsel in for lunch, a lunch and learn, we call it, where we serve you lunch and you sit around a table,
Wow.
10 or 15 of you, and we sit and we chat and you share your experiences, what has been happening, and we all find solutions to the individual problems together. And I sit there, another senior attorney or two other senior attorney. So we lunch with you while talking about the problems that you're having and help you to find solutions to those problems.
Any other forums in the near future?
Yeah. As soon it's by invitation.
Okay.
So certainly, if it is that you want us to extend an invitation, we'll be more than happy to do so.
All right, you hear that, guys? So soon, I hope the invitation will be extended.
Yeah, man, it certainly will be. But putting it out there though for the more senior attorneys, I don't think enough of us extend the hand to young attorneys, and that's an indictment upon us because we have a responsibility to cater to and usher in the next generation of attorneys. If it is that what comes in next is crap, then it's really and truly our fault. We have some responsibility to bear. The young attorneys also have a responsibility because I really and truly don't like what I am seeing, but a lot of it is because they do not know what they're doing and what to do.
Right.
Right? So yeah, it's a task. We have a task as the senior members of the profession to help. And in the truth, that is really the tradition of our profession, because we're brothers and sisters. So when we say my brother, my sister, that is really what it should mean. Like, for example, people don't know that you ought not to call me Mr. Townsend. You're supposed to call me Chris. Yeah. So, this, and I've been trying to get my people here to call me Chris, but they don't. So everybody call me sir as if I'm old.
I guess that's what you're really trying to avoid. But
Pretty much.
but
You
certainly
got me.
I'll take up the invitation, and certainly I think it's really a thing of respect, speaking for young attorneys, where we'd address other senior attorneys by the last name. But certainly I think it's something that we should continue, like you
Yeah.
said, and
There's a
and be
lot of
thorough.
gems. Like, for example, when you go to another attorney's chambers or office, you're not supposed to wait, The attorney, even if the attorney is seeing a client, the attorney is to ask the client to give them some little time, come and see counsel, right? And then after you see counsel and counsel, you've settled your business with counsel, you go back to your client. That is what should happen. So counsel never waits at another. So when you come to TWP, you never wait as a lawyer. Yes, we usher you into a room and counsel sees you immediately. When you call, my secretary will never speak to you to deliver any information that is to be delivered to you. You're gonna speak to counsel, right? Because counsel speak to counsel. So my secretary will never tell you he's busy, call him back. He's with a client, call him back. That never happens. You're going to get, could you hold a moment, please, Mr. Townsend will be with you shortly. And I will stop what I'm doing and speak to counsel. And that is the kind of respect that we should have for our colleagues in the profession. And certainly that is what you get here at TWP.
Well, certainly something that I think a lot of other attorneys should entertain and try and practice, in their firms. Um, and clearly, Mr. Townsend, you're giving us that unbridled advice that we need to really understand what are the some of the things that we really need to be doing as attorneys, and how it is that we should be communicating and treating one another.
Yeah, man, we have more, man. When
Enlightening.
you're ready for more, man, just come. We have
Yeah.
enough more.
All right. Um,
Each one, teach one.
Thank you. I think we have some persons on the live who are not attorneys, but they're also business individuals, and so we want to also give them a shout out.
Just
And
look like Wally people on the live, man.
really, I can't tell how many from here, but we want to also address our minds to some persons outside of the legal profession as well, because a lot of this advice applies to them. Um, Talk to us about the how, as business persons, business owners, you can create a successful business. Because I think the legal principles and how it is that we approach each other as attorneys might be a little different than what happens in the business world. So from a business point of view as well, how is it that you believe, as business owners, you can be successful, make real money in the business world? And what are some of the 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 things that you have to do in order to make real money in the real world, in the business world? Because I mean, I've had quite a few people reach out to me outside of the legal profession that wanted to ask that question.
You want to ask me that? Okay.
You said
All right.
the business of law.
First and foremost, you have to, if you want to make, as you call it, real money, right? The logical approach is that you have to go where real money is. Right. So, and it sounds simple, and it is simple. So if it is that there is no money in a particular area, then if that's where you are, then you're not going to make any money, real money. So you really and truly have to go where real money is. So, for example, if you're going to do um, um, law as it relates to natural gas, energy, um, petroleum, that kind of thing. That is where real money is. So when you do a contract and you're going to get 3% of a $4 billion contract, then that is where real money is. If you're going to, for example, go into real estate and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to do the one and two house real estate. I'm going to go after developments where I am doing 2 billion, $3 billion projects. Then that is where real money is, right? So the formula for making real money is that you have to be willing to deliver the service to where real money is. So you have to get into that game and you have to be able to be a player in that game.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, how do you get there? Getting there means that you have to know how to socialize yourself into that circle. So you must have a ticket in. There must be an in. Yes? And you can sit, use your ingenuity, use your mind, your God given talent, and find a way in. Yes? So if you want real money, you have to go where it is.
So, do you believe networking has a lot to do with that?
Networking has everything to do with it.
Okay.
When you see people up at let me see that good networking place now. AC Hotel, for example.
Okay.
Yes, people walk around with them glass and all of that. No free commercials for AC. But a lot of connections are made there, right?
Yeah.
When I fly down to Trinidad or Barbados and I'm being called, right? And I'm connecting with my classmates, my year group, who are being called also with me. I am making connections there. So now I have a WhatsApp group with some of the most powerful people in the Caribbean,
Right.
right? And we are glad to be connecting with each other. Why? Because if somebody wants something done in Jamaica, they'll call me or one of my other colleagues. If I want something done in Trinidad, Guyana, St. Lucia, it's one phone call away. If I want a piece of legislation and I don't know where the hell it is, I put it in the group and I said, anybody have a legislation or any recent works on in this area? Bam, it's sent to me. So networking and connecting with people is really where it's at. And you have to remember, don't be afraid. Because everybody put on them pants 1 foot at a time. We're all human beings. We're all stuck together on this little piece of rock traveling 400 and odd thousand miles per hour. So don't make it bigger than it is. So when people come to me and say, boy, you're Christopher Townsend, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? I put on my pants just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? And so you have to connect with people if it is that you want to be in that group that plays at that level.
Some people might say, boy, it's not so easy. I mean, once it is that you're connected with persons from as early as high school, or I mean, how it is that you'd have been schooled, with schools you went to will matter, which university you went to will matter, and that's how you can make the right networks. Some people will say, boy, you're lucky. I mean, at least you can do that. But they're saying, what about people like me? I didn't have those connections from the get go. How do I get my foot in? Practically speaking, where it makes sense. I mean, everybody wants a seat at the table, but everybody wants to eat.
Yeah. The true answer to that, it depends on you. If it is that you wish to limit yourself by saying that I can't do it, or limit yourself by saying that's not really my area, then by all means limit yourself. But understand that you're limiting yourself. Some time ago, about a couple of years ago, when the present prime minister first took office, the first time he was prime minister, um, I stood beside him and I shook his hand and I said, "You have a golden opportunity to be great. I hope that you use it well. Now, I'm a little boy from Trenchtown who spent time in the ghetto. I never went to a Ivy League, neither did he, come to think of it. And I'm shaking his hand and giving him advice, which I've done before for many persons, many member of parliament, ministers, etc., etc. What makes me able to do it is because I do not put restrictions in my mind. I don't put restrictions in my life. And I understand that people are who they are. People. The moment that you begin to elevate them above what they are, then it means then that you are pushing yourself down. Now you have put a ceiling on who you are. I am Christopher Townsend. There are no ceilings.
Yeah,
None.
I agree. So it's all about mindset.
It's all about mindset, and everything about your success starts right here. If
Agree.
you believe for a moment that you will not be successful, then you won't be.
Yeah,
But once you can conceptualize your success, then the world is yours.
I agree. But I don't want to broad brush it, but let's talk about the reality of nepotism and links in Jamaica.
Right.
And let's also not really delve too much into it, but let's put it out there in the air. It's a thing. Nepotism in Jamaica is a thing. Links is a thing. How do you believe? And I agree, mindset is a thing. But let's talk about the fact of that reality for a second.
That reality is there, you can't, I mean, and everybody does it.
Yeah.
I mean, my son now goes to Hillel because I'm giving him greater chances
Okay.
and greater opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah. My daughter went to Immaculate because they would not have to make up the ground that perhaps I did. And it's no guarantee that they can now come out and turn workless too. Right? So all it is really is giving them an opportunity, right? And the people who are in a particular grouping in society, they are giving their children the opportunity to be quote unquote successful.
Right.
Because then again, it depends on your definition of success, right? As your definition of success is very, very important.
Right.
Because I may have a $1 or $2 more than you means that I'm more successful than you.
Yeah.
Because I can have $1 or $2 and I am unhappy as hell. And you may live in a nice little 1-bedroom hut somewhere, but you are happy as a lark. I don't know which one of us is even more successful.
So it's your perspective on what is success.
It is your perspective on what is success.
Yeah.
Our modern society has told us that success means when you can jump on a plane and say, George, take me to Italy. I would like pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, and chicks dig that. And so,
Gelato.
yeah, chicks dig that. And perhaps that's why
It's diggable.
we govern ourselves by that. But the person who does that, can you say that they're happy? I mean, I like, for example, to go up to the country on my hike. I have a hike 3 times a year with my friends.
Okay.
Over 100 odd people. We go into the hills of St. Catherine and we walk 7 miles and we cook and we eat and we sit on bamboo seat and we. That for me is great fun. That for them is great fun. And you're talking about people who are extremely wealthy, right? And they're walking with people who can barely pay their rent, right? But for that single moment that we're all together, we're all just regular people, and we're all enjoying the same thing that makes us all happy. So what exactly is that, and how do you then gauge success? Because there are different levels of success there, and there's a commonality there that says that at this time in place we're all equal because we're happy, and it's the happiness that makes us equal. not the money.
Yeah.
Interesting, eh?
It is. It is. Wondering whether you thought of that until just now, but um okay. I mean, a lot of people I guess lack perspective on life, and so it's important for us
Are they
to
hearing us?
share.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Hi,
important.
everybody. I can't see you though.
Hopefully
Hope you're
somebody
enjoying
knows
it.
me on this page.
Okay, we're not live, so we can cut this out. We're gonna cut that part out,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
good
I
with
think
that?
so. I think so.
You should tell us, You're the director. We're good.
It's fine.
Okay, great.
All right, wonderful.
So we're not gonna go to any breaks. We're just gonna.
Yeah, we're just running it.
Yeah.
We're just
Okay.
running
Cool.
it. All right, so talk to me now. Where are we? We're at a place where you've discussed with us, the attorney life, the business part of life. How do you separate your personal life from that? Because you obviously work hard. I should have asked you first, how long do you work? I mean, how late do you stay in office?
Um. Ooh. It varies.
Okay.
If I have a serious case working on, then we could last, like, for example, I mean, last night, was it last night? Or night before last night, we're here until about 10. And we have slept here before, a few times, where, we sleep, we'll go home at 4 o'clock in the morning, bathe, and then come back. Or we do full nights, etc. The practice of law can be very taxing and very demanding. And it doesn't give you much wiggle room at all. When you're responsible for people's lives, it's important work, and you have to treat it as such, right? Whenever somebody whenever somebody comes to you, it's generally a problem they're coming to you for, and so it requires you to give it your all, because sometimes you're the last person they're coming to, right? And giving it your all means giving it the time that it requires to fulfill the task. And that is what we do here.
I do recall the first time we met. I think it was over the very same pieces that are in your office today. And you said to me, "Boy, law is almost like a jealous wife."
Mhm.
And in that
I
moment,
think I said jealous, but anyways.
we're going to bleep that out. Anyways,
It's authentic.
the point is, though, it resonated with me, and I said to myself, "Boy, it's almost like what's happening in my life." But the truth is, it's just the profession that we do. It's a part of the process of realizing that when you start to try and give a little more time to your personal life, you feel the pinch from the law. Because then deadlines are creeping on you, and so many things start to come up, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how have you managed to separate the two?"
And you did ask that question. I didn't answer it. But the thing is, though, is that you have to find the time. You have to make the time. And the truth is, now that I'm older in the profession, it gets a little bit easier, because the problems that you're solving are problems that you already solved 15 times. And so the formula remains the same or similar, just with a little bit of tweaking, right? So so I've learned how to tweak quickly. So I've spent less time on problem solving. But you have to make the time, and you have to literally grab that time out for yourself, because it's never ever good to lose yourself in anything. And life is really about achieving balance, right? And in my life, I've made every effort to achieve the balance that is required to separate my work life from my personal life. Um, I remember I have two set of kids, one much older than the other set. And when I was the older set, they were there in the early days, and they suffered as a result of me not necessarily being there. And I'm trying my very best now to ensure that the second set of kids don't experience that, you know.
Mm.
Um, but now it's a little bit easier because I've done quite a bit in terms of acquiring the skill sets. And so it becomes easier to just press the button and find solutions to the problems that are presented.
Wow. And I mean, you seem to get good sleep because you don't look tired. So it seems that you're doing it well.
It's an illusion, girl.
Well, it doesn't look like it's the real thing, and I
Yeah,
have to
this
tell you.
smooth chocolate face on.
Mm.
Trust me, there's lack of sleep behind this.
Alright. Well, people, you've heard it from Mr. Townsend, but I want to now segue into
Hmm.
the music business. A lot of people are not aware, until I think we spoke about it, that you are a music producer.
Right.
You own Jenna Storm
Mm.
Records.
Yeah. How did
How
I get
did
there?
you get there?
All right. Um, the genesis of that started in the same place where law started
Okay.
because and I embraced my two passions, music and law. I've always been in love with the law. I've always been in love with music. Music was my go-to. Yes, and we're talking about all genre of music: classical, dancehall, reggae, calypso, everything, soca, country and western, everything, yodeling.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for all the
So
yodelers. Yeah.
right. So that was R&B, the whole thing, rapping. So I just loved music, and I had set I'd set out on a path that when it is that I had conquered my first love, then I can embrace my second life into music. And so as I grew into law and I began to represent musicians, artists in the sphere of criminal law and um, um, entertainment law, I saw the opportunity to segue into music because being around them, I went to studio to, because you've been invited to studio sessions. Chris, come, you know, look. I remember going to Barry Salmon's studio or rehearsal, and Barry was like, "Come on in, man," and to hear that man sing.
In person.
Man,
Wow.
just sit down the man and if I wasn't myself, man, my bun a big head spliff.
Why?
But so music became for me an avenue of outlet where I could express myself. Yes. My artistic expressions wasn't only law but music. And so and I can't remember the name of the engineer now. We were producing Abidalas, and he built a rhythm from scratch. And when I saw that and we were there building the rhythm together, I'm like, no, no, no. And the cartoon was so like, give me a one drop right there. So no, no, take off the one drop. They give me the one drop, yeah, but give me this part up. And when we finished with what we created, right, and when I listened to it, and it was original, it had our signature on it. And that was ours. That was the birth of a new child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to take life. You understand? So for me, it it was just absolutely magical, and it kind of echoed for me the where I want to go. And so I started Jenna Storm with my first child, Anika, my eldest child. And so we owned the label together, and I built a studio, Jenna Storm Studios, I've always wanted a studio in my home.
Mm.
And so I built a studio in my home and I produce my music from there.
Wow. Um, very inspiring again. To know that you actually done a whole other, I don't even want to call it a side job. That's a whole job.
Yeah.
On the side of being an attorney. But
Life
certainly
is life is dynamic, you know. There are
it
most of things that
is.
you can do with your life. There are 24 hours in a day, but your mind is endless.
Well, true. Tell me though, how has being an attorney, because you practice entertainment law, you said, as
Yeah, a
well.
little bit. I dabble in it.
Okay. How has being an attorney assisted the music business?
Um, a lot of the music business is and the business of music is primarily legal in it. It has a significant legal base to it because when you start a tune, right? When you do a session, the legal ramifications start there because you have to have the splits. You have to know who did what percentage to allocate to who, and this is contained in a legal document. So before you come into my studio, you walk in with the split sheets because you know that whatever work that we do there, this is what it is that you're gonna get from it, right? And this is your contribution, etc. So and that has legal implications when you release what happens, etc., etc. When an artist comes on board, the contract, is it's there, so it's a contractual relationship. The type of contract that you're looking at, the responsibilities between producer and artist is determined by the contractual relationship and what happens therefrom. And when the money comes in, it is shared pursuant to the contract. So law, um, law was understanding the law was an easy provider for me in terms of um, being able to maneuver that aspect of the music world and the creation of music. So it did assist, but my passion for music goes way beyond the legal ramifications of it. So man, I just create music and say, yo, go on a road. I don't care about the money. Just go on a road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you assigned or partnered with any distribution companies as a record label?
Yeah, man, enough man.
Okay.
Can't mention them now though.
All right, that's fine.
Mm.
And how important is that for artists to
No,
know?
man, it's important. You see the legal aspect of it. This is what eludes most artists.
Artists, yeah.
The back office work of
Mhm.
their thing. They don't know a
Have a
thing
clue.
about it. They don't
Yeah.
have a clue.
Right.
All they want to go out there is jump up on stage and do this and do that. And then when you end up broke after you spend 4 years or jump up on stage, you wonder why.
Right.
And then your producer like me get rich and buy you one Benz out of the money and you swear say, yeah, you know.
Right. So it's for
You
people
never
that
ask yourself what the Benz a come. So if me get one Benz, so how much money did actually did it? You understand? So a lot of artists do not pay attention sufficiently to the back office work that goes into their production, that goes into their business. And if enough, you know how much you have one artist in Jamaica that I know specifically that have millions of dollars. Well, never million, well, millions of Jamaican dollars, me know. Thousands of US dollars or hundreds of thousands of US dollars sitting out there.
haven't
Him
collected
not
it.
tapping on it yet.
Oh, but it's available for
It's
him to.
available.
Oh, okay.
And him broke.
All right. So now I'm confused. What?
Why broke? Because he
Yeah.
doesn't know how to tap in on it. He doesn't know how to collect his royalties.
And that's the issue. So
So what is going to happen
yeah.
now is some little bright spark where I say, all right, I'll collect your royalties for you,
As
but
a
I need
percentage.
50%.
Yeah. That's just the reality of
And
it.
that's just the reality of it.
And then they find themselves.
So you get 50%
somewhere
of
else.
things because you don't know.
Yeah.
So the other night I did a live and I was calling upon all the artists, young artists. Go and learn. Stop dig out your and miggle I mean, you can go to Amigo too, but at the very least, go and learn about the music. Go and learn about the trade that you're in, the industry that you're in. And sometimes it is easy. You spend so much time on your phone, Instagramming, etc. Spend some time on your phone, YouTubing, and seeing exactly how the music business work. Go and learn how to release a song. What does that mean?
Yeah.
See which distribution house is doing well. Yes, and do the research. But they don't want to do that. They want to robot their middle and grab mic and go in a studio and go sing one song. And then they even know what happened. I was talking to one artist on live recently where him said that him sang a hit a German and him not know. I had an artist here earlier on today where her song went to the top of the charts in the tri-state area. And she had no clue.
Yeah.
So I tell her, big money out the fear, know. Right. So yeah, a lot of artists are sitting down here. They are rich and they don't know.
Well, I'm happy you highlighted the fact that there are a number of facets that they need to become acquainted with as an artist, and recognizing that once it is you create that musical work, there's money out there to be made, and it's important that you follow through on ensuring that you account for those monies. Um, and it's important. I think now that we've had a discussion about it, it's important that they know you have attorneys such as myself and you who you can come to for guidance, um, to ascertain the knowledge you need to maneuver yourself through a lot of these legal contracts and a lot of the engagements that people come to you with, to simmer it over. Don't just readily just jump into a relationship with a producer without thinking and considering what are the legal ramifications. So certainly happy that you touched on that. My concern, especially because of the lack of knowledge of a lot of these artists, is this no new area of concern for them. And it's the genesis of artificial intelligence and the no use of it, sampling on original works of other artists and creating um, new musical rhythms and so on and so forth. What is the disadvantage of that, and how do you think artists now need to think about this growing area?
Um, Artificial intelligence is going to be within the next 5 years one of the largest things ever. It is going to be like when fire was invented or when fire was happened upon. It is that significant. Or the invention of the wheel. It is going to be huge because here it is that all I need is to catch your voice. And then I program a computer, or a computer programs itself to recreate your voice and then produce something perhaps better than you could have yourself. Question: who then owns that?
That's the question.
Who then owns it? Is it the person with the program or who did it? Where does ownership lie? Right? Is it the person who owns that particular AI program? Is it you? Do you get a piece of it? What happens? So all of that is going to become a serious question for lawyers to determine, for policy makers to determine. And it's not only that application, the AI application is vast, right? Somebody now can be out there copying my voice and I am having a radio interview in the Congo and it sounds just like me on radio, right? And just like you. And then they'll be selling that as content in different parts of the world that you and I never hear of, right? What happens to individuality? And the reality too is that do you have a claim? Because the truth is that's not you. So do you still have a claim? Can you still say, hey, you're using my voice, so therefore?
Right.
You understand? So the advent of artificial intelligence is going to turn the world upside down. And some things will be good and some things will be horrible. My children are coming into a world that, boy, I really don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you think about the application of artificial intelligence in music, the ability to create another Bob Marley song. Bob is dead, but you can create his songs. You can have Bob singing a brand new song, brand new releases. Who owns that? Where will our music be? Will it be authentic? Will it still carry the same tone and soul that it carries?
Right.
Right?
All of these
Where would
things
those
to do
royalties go?
Yeah.
So all of these issues are coming up, and I segue back to areas of law that lawyers need to know, start to grapple with, and artificial intelligence is one of them, right? Because there are new policies now, studies, etc., that are being written right across the world. Because AI is ahead of us, is ahead of the policies, right? And now you have committees being formed in every country looking at exactly how it is that we're going to manage this new thing. Because it's an entirely, it's like opening up another dimension.
Yeah.
It's an entirely different world. And as it begins to grow and we see the different applications,
Right.
our world that we know now will become obsolete.
And I think it's very important that we quickly get onto it because at the rate and pace that this thing is going, it's important that I think we quickly regulate it.
One of the things then that we learn very quickly is that we can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
It has now gone outside of our control.
Right. You know, in the music world, an area of contention or a debate of contention, though, I'm not sure if you're following it up, is the reggaeton reggae debacle.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not reggaeton is, because no, it's considered a genre, I believe. But the question is, what's your take on it? Is it that it's taken? I think there's a suit in trend now in trade, where they're basically going after um reggaeton and whether it's a whole appropriation of reggae and copyright issues are now in play. What's your take on whether or not
Reggaeton is reggae?
yeah, and if it is that they've stolen the genre of reggae
Well,
by
my
sampling
my question is I don't
reggae beats.
understand the confusion. If you're gonna call the damn thing reggaeton, then where reggae come from?
Mm-hmm.
So they themselves have confirmed that it comes from us. Where's the argument?
So then the question is, should there be some sort of compensation then for artists who would have created these reggae beats and these no reggaeton artists sampling beats from reggaetons or reggae
But it doesn't
songs
it doesn't
or
make
dancehall songs
yeah,
in Jamaica?
but even if you sample it in something else,
Mm-hmm.
you'd still be liable to pay. You still have an obligation if you're going to use somebody else's property.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't see what the issue is.
Well, I mean, as far as I understand,
Life is simple, and as we make it complex. If you name the thing reggaeton, where it come from? Reggae. You add the ton to it, so
Yeah.
fine, it's reggaeton.
And I think what's happening though is that people are actually not being paid. So what's been happening? It's been happening.
Well,
The separation has been happening,
Mhm.
and nobody is being paid the sums that they're entitled to, or that is the debate. I think.
Well, that may be a contractual issue. That may be also an area that the law needs to address. But as it relates to whether or not reggaeton comes from reggae, I don't know if you need to argue that.
Right.
Whether or not rights are are given to those who have created beats, the industry is clear on that. So unless there is something more intricate, I don't see what the argument is really about. You see, people create arguments and over things to obscure the truth, right? And sometimes the truth is very, very clear. But if it is that you don't want to do something, you'll find ways and means of obscuring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the second question that you wanted me to tackle?
Artists in the 90s.
Oh yes, very important. So right. So what you can say, I mean, earlier you had mentioned that artists need to get into and know their rights, and know that there are certain contractual obligations of producers, or certain legal obligations that they have to ensure that they're getting their royalties, or
Mhm.
whatever the split sheet says. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of artists from back in the day didn't have those those opportunities to learn, um where music was made, and everybody in the studio, but what was lacking is pen to paper, or what was not lacking was a drink over the music.
Mhm.
But people were not afforded opportunities of having a contract presented to them, or even if they did, they weren't advised. They were just told, right, sign off on this thing. And
Mhm.
then by signing off on those agreements from back in the day, they basically enslaved themselves to a contract which says they're not entitled to anything, or the any royalties that they would have received, or any advances that they would have received.
Right.
That was the end of it. But they didn't realize the legal implications
Right.
of signing off on something like that, because the knowledge, the awareness wasn't there. What is your take on that? And is there any way, from your perspective, uh, how that can be corrected
Well,
at this
corrected for who
stage?
though?
Yeah,
Because the living truth is,
for the artist. Yeah,
when it is when it is that you go to make a decision, right? You are going to stand or fall on that decision. So if I make a decision to do foolishness, I've done foolishness. Lawyers were there back in those days. You could have taken the contract to a lawyer and said, look, tell me what this is, tell me what that is. If it is that you chose to sign a contract under your spliff because somebody says, hey, sign this, then that's a bad decision that you have made. And bad decisions have consequences, right? The person who gave you the contract to sign, yes, he is benefiting from it because of his superior knowledge, which is the cut and thrust of societies everywhere. It's not only in the music business, it's everywhere. If it is that you don't know what you have and you sign it away, that's so. If somebody finds something on a piece of land, I say, me find like a piece of gold, so, and the person said, well, all right, the other person don't know about that, so I got buy that land for 15 million, $5 million, $15 million. And you buy the piece of land. You get where you bingo, right? So I don't know who it is.
benefiting.
Well, we know who benefits,
Okay.
right? But you also going to lose out from your bad decision. But nobody goaded you into making a bad decision. They had the opportunities. If they did, then you have a legal recourse. Because if it is that there were unfair bargaining strength, there is a legal recourse. If it is that you are not afforded the opportunity after expressing that you wish to have, legal advice, and you signed it without legal advice after being prompted and goaded, then yes, you have those avenues
Right.
to assist you. But don't the balance approach is that if you make a bad deal, you have to live by
Suffer the
it.
consequences, right?
Yeah, you have to suffer the consequences. Somebody made a good deal. So you can't punish the person who made the good deal, right? Because the other person made a bad deal, right? That's unfair to them too. And that's why I ask you, who do you think it's fair to?
Right. And so, key point from this is ensure that you have it reviewed in the first place, so you don't have to end up, giving a price which you ultimately didn't have to give.
Yeah, man. People,
You
look,
know.
lawyers have to make money. Go to your lawyer.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to go to a lawyer because nobody wants to pay the lawyer the money to review a contract. And then when you sign the contract, you lose more money.
Way more.
Way more money than if you did it, if you had paid the lawyer the little chump change that
In the first
that they
place.
ask you in the first place. I say people do it all the while. People go and buy land and they don't know anything about land because boy, I don't want to pay no land no for money. So I say give the man the money. And what they buy is an idea. Because the man who sell it to them don't own the land.
Yeah. Reality.
And then buy an idea and then give them money.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you have a lot of that that happens. And so I know it's not as simple as that because
Yeah.
people have lifetime works that they have signed away. And your conscience says, your judicial conscience says that no, they should get something from it. But that's another issue. The cut and thrust business is that you've made a deal. And what you get from the deal is what you signed on for. And what I get from the deal is what I signed on for.
Right.
Yes. Capitalism is alive.
It's the reality. And so, guys, it's important that you review those contracts, get an attorney involved, and have a conversation about what the other person's legal obligations are and what are your rights flowing from the creation of the works or entering into any agreement that you do. Um, so, Mr. Townsend, Chris, gosh, getting used to that. Talk to us about, well, I should ask you, you also practice conveyancing. I know that TWP, you guys have real estate development ventures, and we see you sign all over the place. So do you practice that as well?
Yeah, man, we have a serious conveyancing department. We have 4 or 5 lawyers over there, um, ready and willing to take on a development everywhere. That's a commercial. Um, so yeah, some time ago we had decided to when we decided to start a law firm, and we looked at the various areas of law, and we said conveyancing would be a good area to get into because of all of the new buildings, etc. There was a construction boom that was happening at the time, and we started that division, and it is one of our more successful division in the firm. Um, and the construction boom still goes on. But now, what we decided, my daughter joined me um, in that part of the firm. Well, she joined us in the firm, and she is a major player in that section of
Wow.
business. And she decided that what she's going to do is to develop the company's brand in that area of law. And so you will see our brand on the construction projects that are going up. And that's why I said branding becomes very, very important, because now what happens is that developers are coming to us now to say, hey guys, I see your brand, I see you guys working with XY. Can we join your firm? Can you represent us? And because we like what you do and we like what you deliver, right? So
Yeah.
when they come, you help them to build out their success. So what we are selling here is really success, right?
Right.
One of the things, one of the ways of achieving success is to align yourself with successful people, right? So, we are aligning ourselves with successful brands, and successful brands are aligning themselves with us. So that kind of symbiotic approach, helps us to grow and help them to grow. So if you help your clients to grow, it must inure to your benefit, and it must help you to grow and become a part of your growth strategy.
How important is it to invest in real estate? I think outside of the successful persons who have already started and you partnered with them, um, by virtue of your branding, I can tell how important is it, sorry,
Now,
for you to,
investing in real estate is,
and
is
why?
is very, very important, because God now make no more land, no more land at the boat, and a piece of rock this. And when you own piece of the rock is a good feeling, and it is generally seen across the entire face of the earth as one of the safest investments to have. And that has not changed. There are times when real estate crashes, etc., but it comes back up, and comes back up because no more than a day.
No.
And so I try and invite my young friends to try and own a piece of real estate every year
Mhm.
and see how best you can.
And speaking of, now that we're in the real estate aspect of things, what's your take on Airbnbs and renting? And what, well, let's take it from there and then I'll ask the next question. What's
My
your take
take
on
on
it?
Airbnb.
Yeah.
Um,
Versus renting a property.
well,
What are the advantages and disadvantages? Or
it's
what
still
what's your
rent.
take?
Renting a property long term,
Yes.
I have done both,
Mhm.
and I prefer short term rentals. One, you maximize your income and you lower the wear and tear on your property,
Right.
right? That's a one of the one of the things. But renting long term, you have less maintenance in terms of, the maintaining the property, having people going to clean to you know to ensure that this is done for the next thing. So for somebody like me who, it's not my business to do, it can be taxing. But certainly, in terms of monetary terms, the Airbnb approach is more rewarding. But the rental is more of a steady income, steady assurance. You don't get as much, but you get a steady flow.
Mhm. We're a bit early on this as attorneys, where no, we see conversations being had as it relates to regulating the Airbnbs. What direction? I mean, things haven't been finalized, but what direction you think, if it's going to be regulated,
Mhm.
um, the government should take or the policymakers should take, um, where it is Airbnbs are concerned? Seeing that you have the experience of that.
I don't know what they're going to regulate.
Mhm.
It is really a private business. I don't see them regulating other business. I don't see them regulating stores and all of that.
Yeah.
Airbnbs is really a business. I don't see the purpose of regulating it. People, it's your property, and although there are certain parameters in which you can act in relation to your property, but certainly seeking to regulate Airbnbs, um, it might be a bit of micromanaging something that is already managed. What is really the complaint? That why you need to regulate it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, part of the debate that a lot of persons are having. No, Airbnb owners, operators saying, I mean, what more can be regulated from the process that's already,
And the question is, how
with
much
the
money you ever
Airbnb
take out of me, for
that
regulate
I've
my
read it.
thing? That means
Right.
to me I've got to pay you for regulate me.
I mean, naturally, I mean, if it is
Yeah,
you're
you
going
want
to
to collect
create
a fee.
regulations, that
Yeah,
fees
you
are
want to
going
collect a
to,
fee.
right.
Because
I mean,
somebody have to pay
application
the
fees,
regulator.
licensing fees.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is part of the concern that a
Yeah,
lot of people
it's
would have.
sometimes a way of tapping into an era where they believe that money is being made and the money is not being sufficiently captured
Yes.
for it to benefit
Yeah.
the authorities. So regulate the hell out of it.
I think we're almost there. The last set of questions I really had for you were in relation to um money management and investment.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to invest, and what are two tips you can give us if you're limited to two um critical ones that you consider to be important once when you're managing your money? Sorry.
Okay. Um, First and foremost, when you're investing, yes, don't be afraid to take chances, right? Especially when you're young, right? Um, you have the time to make it back if you lose it. Don't be afraid. Definitely don't be afraid. Take risk. Take hard risk, heavy risk, because real money don't come from mediocre risk or low risk. There's no such thing as low risk investment giving you high returns. I don't know of it. Right? It's high risk investment that gives you high returns. So take the high risk investments when you're young. Spend other people money. Not sorry, not I shouldn't tell lawyers that because them creating problem with that. Meaning that it is always better to borrow to do what you're doing to invest and then give back the bank money. Your money sitting in a bank is a waste of your time, right? It's a waste of your time, waste of your energy. Your money should be out working for you. While you're asleep, your money should be working, right? We used to have a very good stock market, best in the world. Not so wonderful right now, but it's coming back up, right? So look at those kind of investment. Look at real estate investment, flipping homes, that kind of thing. Um, Look at starting a business, different income stream. You know, when you go to, like when you go to China, and you look at what it is that they produce there, and you look at what kind of applications you can have here for that, for what it is that they produce there, it is a whole new world. And so when somebody here don't have said them boy, I mean don't know what to do. That's because you're not opening their eye, you're not opening your eyes.
Yeah.
Open your eyes and look to see what is there, what people are doing elsewhere. And that is why it's important to travel, to widen your perspective on things, widen your perspective on life, right? When you travel and you see what other people are doing, and you say, but this would do well in Jamaica. And you go back and you try it. And you take off before you know it, you turn billionaire as a result. All because of an idea. And so your investment, your investment opportunities really takes place in your mind,
Yeah.
right? Once it is that you have the idea, once it is that you're willing to go and search for the opportunities will come. And that is what I have done. I've searched for opportunities and it came.
I see. And your two tips on money management.
Um, my recommendation is to do something, have something that has a constant inflow of money.
Okay.
And my other recommendation is that you are to constrict the outflow of money, right? Don't spend your money on foolishness. Yeah.
Frugal living.
Yeah. Don't spend your money on foolishness. It's not all the time you need to wear that designer stuff and that designer this and that designer that.
Right.
Use your money to generate more money. Use your money to generate wealth. Don't spend your money on things. I mean, it is important to look good, yeah, but don't spend all of your money on these things. It's a waste. You don't see billionaires spending their money on these things. Billionaires spending the money making more money.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't be afraid also to join with other people in the process of making money. And this is what I find young people don't do. Get together, pool your resources, yes, and make money. A bank will easily lend a group of persons who know what they're doing with different skill sets than lend one person.
Mm. Okay. Didn't think of that one. That's certainly new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What may I lend you one person money for? Next thing you know, you go drop down dead for me and I have nobody for
To get it
for the
back.
money.
Yeah.
And me lend 3 or 4 on the money. Then me have a greater chance.
And recover
Yeah.
it.
When it is that you um when is it that you spread the risk, right? Then it's better for you. And then you use that to generate income. And then when you go back to market, you reinvest, you generate more and you build. So it's easier for more than one of it just come together and build.
Yeah.
And that's what I recommend for young people. This thing that where you feel that you want to beat your chest and go it alone, it's a waste of your time. You can go much faster as a group than an individual.
Strength in numbers. I agree.
Definitely. And you get more ideas
That way.
and you don't feel alone.
Feeding off of each other.
Yeah, feeling off of each other.
I agree.
The group dynamic is always better.
I think
I
we're
want to pay me for them advices.
Forget that law. The experience is the payment.
Okay.
But I think we're almost at that place. The final question, and I think this is how I intend for, I mean, all guests to really leave us with a parting statement on what a lot of us think about, and would love to go back in time to say to ourselves. What would you tell your younger self, um, to either do or not do?
That's easy, you know.
Okay. I thought this would have been a harder question.
No, it's
But
easy.
okay.
It's easy. I would lead a healthier lifestyle
Okay.
because the truth is, without health, none of this really matters. Right? If you're not healthy, none of this. This is just none. Because you can't enjoy success and wealth without being healthy. So I would go for more walks, I would exercise more, and I won't eat all some of the garbage that I used to eat before. So my recommendation to you is to remain healthy. Don't don't stress yourself over things. Your life will happen. You will give it direction and it will happen. Don't stress yourself over things. Yeah? Take your time. Be gentle with yourself and love yourself more than you love anybody else in the world, including your picking them. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of them. Else.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's my parting advice.
Wow, that was a major one, and certainly one that I don't think it's gonna be hard to beat that for the next guest on the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Christopher Townsend, for having us and showing us and sharing with us all the inspiring words, giving us the advice and the guidance that we really needed to navigate life as it is. Whether we're young, we're old, middle age, I think all of us have felt some connection, resonated with us the entire way. I'm so happy. I feel as though this is not just an experience for the show, but certainly I feel so blessed having sat here, gotten this knowledge
Big
from
talk, big talk.
in this particular setting.
All right.
I don't think anybody else could have said to me, boy, this would have happened. And so I'm grateful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad that I was able to assist and to touch, and to connect. So it was my pleasure being here. I hope your audience will enjoy the show. I hope that it is going to be a success once you make it so. So
Mindset.
yeah, big up to your next guest.
Yes.
All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.